Well, hi. Hi,
Hi.
everybody.
Hi.
It's the day after the Monaco Grand Prix, the Indy 500, the Coca Cola 600.
Motorsports Christmas.
It is Motorsports Boxing Day.
Motorsports Boxing Day.
Welcome.
Welcome,
Welcome.
welcome.
I'm Reese.
And I'm Doll.
That's Doll. And we made a really rambling podcast last time around.
You guys don't know half of it because I cut half of it. Actually cut 2/3 of it.
So this time, in an effort to streamline post production, we've outlined our thoughts and feelings about Motorsports Christmas, which was yesterday. I have kept the receipts so that I can return almost everything that happened yesterday.
Not everything needs to be returned.
Not everything. One thing in particular, I'm quite happy to keep. Everything else, I would exchange for a different size, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll keep the Lando victory.
You know I will keep the Lando victory. Yeah.
Before we get into Monaco, I want to talk about a Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah, tell me about that because I'm not the NASCAR guy. I had it on a little bit, but didn't really pay attention.
I don't have Prime, so I wasn't able to watch it live, but I kind of sort of kept up with it. It also went really late.
It went
I mean,
so
it's
late.
a night race. The whole point is that it starts in full daylight, and you have four stages in this one because it's the longest race in NASCAR. And the stages are kind of weird. All of that sort of happened after I start paying attention. But in NASCAR now, in order to have like a playoff season, they do a point system, but rather than every winner takes all over the whole course of the season, you qualify for the runoff or playoff at the end of the season, which is the last 10 races. And points are scored not only for winning and placing and qualifying and stuff like that, but also for leading laps at certain points in the races. They called stages, at which point safety car or the pace car in NASCAR, they call it a pace car, comes out. Everybody comes into pit row and then out, and then gives them a commercial break because it's America and we have to have commercials.
America. Can I just interject? People complain so much about having to pay for F1 TV. I would pay any amount of money
At least you don't have mandatory pit stops for commercials.
to yes, or in IndyCar, they just zoop the action into a little box and then you're listening to a freaking Chevy ad and then a drug ad and then all kinds of ads and you're like, I just want to watch the race, bruh.
Officially, the stages help keep the pack more concentrated because with NASCAR being the much longer races and the tracks being much shorter, you have a tendency for people to go down multiples of laps. And it's not very exciting if there's only like 2 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah.
So it kind of concentrates the pack, keeps things a little more competitive, which is the official reason. It also means that people have to race the whole race because you get points if you are in the top 10 at the end of each stage. And at the end of the year, the 16 people with the most points, or if you win a race, you're automatically in the playoffs. And then you have three, I forget what they call them, rounds or something of 3 races. And at the end of those races, the 4 people with the least points of those 16 people, there's still 40 people in the race, but those 16 people are the only ones vying for the championship now. So they have to make their way through all of the other racers and still win the race to get points, even though the winner might not get points because they might not be in contention for the championship anymore. So you still have to compete with the people who aren't competing. It's actually kind of fascinating.
For fun.
Well, they're still win the race. You still get like $500,000 for winning this race, even if you don't get points for the championship. So after 3 races, 4 more people are eliminated over 3 rounds until you have one set of 4 people. And then the championship race, the winner of that race takes the championship. Or the person who places the highest, because it still might be somebody who's not in the championship, that wins the race. So you have a few people who are still vying for the playoffs this year. Like our doubleheader contender who crashed out of both races, Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson, I feel so bad for him. What a bad Christmas he had.
He did.
You know what? I bet he's like a Lance Stroll fan as well.
Aww.
I bet, or an Alonso. I bet he's an Alonso fan.
I'll be an Alonso fan.
And watched him just DNF for no reason. Oh, poor guy. I hope he kept his receipts. Shit.
Yeah. So anyway, he didn't finish, and then we had 3 stages. You had like 3 people in the top the whole time, and in the last 50 laps, I don't remember exactly when, the crash took out all of them. And then you have kind of becoming one of my favorite NASCAR racers, Ross Chastain. Ross, the watermelon man, Chastain.
I don't understand the watermelon thing, but
he grew up on a watermelon farm in Florida. So he's a watermelon. he smashed a watermelon when he won. He qualified 40th because he wrecked.
I saw that. He had no time. His qualification was no time. He started at the very back.
No, he started at the back because he had to repair his car. And instead of starting in the pit, you just move to the back of the pack. So he went from 40th to 1st. And it's like the lowest possible position to winning the biggest race in NASCAR. At which point he smashed the watermelon and ate it off the track.
Oh, sick. What a Cinderella story. Incredible.
I mean, it was just like the last 100 laps. At 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, I don't remember how late it was. It was just multiple leader changes over the course of the last 50, 60 laps. Very exciting. Yeah. People were celebrating until 1 o'clock in the morning.
God. Similar story, the Indy 500. I did watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
As best I could. It's a long race. I was out doing stuff with the spouse. So I was that spouse that like sits there with the one AirPod in, watching the phone, like, son of a bitch. Oh, God damn it. Oh, come on, Pato. Like, It was kind of a frustrating race, the 500. It was very cool, not as cool as usual, or not as warm as usual. So everyone was just crashing.
Yeah.
On Scott McLaughlin on the freaking parade lap. That one hurt.
Just watching him sitting there with his hands, like.
Yeah. And it was good to see, though, that even the seasoned vets still can have that reaction, because everyone was giving so much crap to Isak Hadjar for being emotional after hitting the wall on the warm-up lap in Australia. But Scott's been driving for years and years and years. Look, sometimes men are allowed to have emotions, people. I know it's not manly, and he should probably be taken out back and disposed of for it, but it does happen sometimes that men have emotions. So I thought that was really nice to see, honestly. As much as it hurt, like it was good to see that we have, men out here doing manly stuff, like crying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a wild race. Just, it would be like 2 laps, caution. 2 laps, caution. What did we have? We had a guy on fire in the pit lane. We had a crash in the pit lane. We had a guy run over his pit crew.
Yeah.
And then all the stuff that happened on track.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And I was so excited because, like, we were close to the end. My boy Pato, he was making moves. Finished 4th under a caution. But Alex Palou, I as much as I want to hate him for being the Max Verstappen of IndyCar, he's good. He's really good, and his team is good. His strategies are good. Did
you see his daughter kiss the bricks?
No. Oh dear. Okay, I'm gonna have to find that at some point.
It's so adorable. Stop. His wife and his daughter came out to him, and she went down next to him, and he points, and she goes, "It's so cute."
Can I also just say another very manly thing that I love is all of the girl dads. Oh. All of the girl dads in motorsports is like. Did you see Hulkenberg's little girl like run up to him? Aww. He's on the balcony in Monaco, and she's like, "Oh my god, oh my god, I cannot wait." I hope Max Verstappen stays in the public eye long enough for both P and his little newborn Lily, I think is that her name, to like run up to him in the garage. Oh my god. Oh my god, I will die. I want to see it. I want to see it happen. Oh, should we say anything about the Weenie 500? Did you watch that one?
Oh my god. I didn't see it live, but I've seen the whole thing.
I tried to watch it live. It was tough because I was just watching it on Instagram. But
the contrast between the pageantry at Monaco and then we're over here in the U.S. with somebody singing an operatic version of
the Oscar Mayer Wiener song, and people don't have their hands on their hearts; it's on their stomachs.
I missed that. And all the puns, or should I say buns?
Oh my god, no ifs, ands, or buns about it. Come on.
In the middle, old lady going, weenies.
Something about relish. There was also a lot of sexual innuendo, which was brilliant.
I mean,
somebody said something about a hard Johnson at one point, and I went, "What?" You can't, or it was a long Johnson, I think, and I was like, you can't say that.
I also learned that they hire somebody to run those cars for the year, and they do all the social media, and I'm like, we need to get a job driving on.
Why do we not? I actually know someone who applied, and they didn't get it, but their cover letter was also full of hot dog puns, hot dog buns.
Yeah, it's probably very competitive.
Was it scripted?
Probably.
I think it was scripted.
I mean, they're driving 20 miles.
They're driving 20 miles an hour, and the overtake at the end, suddenly there's gas in the tank for that overtake. And like, I understand a slipstream, but that is not it.
No slipstream.
There's no slipstream in a freaking weenie mobile. There's no slip. There's no stream.
They don't have any aerodynamics.
There's
just
nothing.
A long schlong going right there. I can't believe I just said that.
It's just a long schlong going racing.
Yes.
Holy crap. Is that our new motto? Should we change the name of our podcast?
The Weenie Podcast. Weenie Mobile.
But I think it was scripted, but it was adorable. It was fun.
I mean, it's just like WWE.
I'm not a fan of camp usually, but that one made. I'm much more of a Monaco glitz and glamour, despite having grown up in Indianapolis. I think that's probably why I'm more of a Monaco glitz and glamour, honestly. But the Weenie 500 was hilarious.
No, I'm white trash. No, I should say American white trash.
American, just American trash.
Yes.
Oh, crikey. So, with all of the schlong out of the way, should we talk about the glitz and glamour now?
Sure.
Because there's a lot. There's a lot to talk about with Monaco.
There is.
Namely, did we even need to have it on the calendar? But we will get there. We will come to that in a moment. I think we start with quali.
Yeah. Quali, the actual race.
Yeah. I loved quali so much. I loved the practices so much. All of the impeding, all of the crashing into each other, hitting the walls. Like, this is when people are learning how to drive on Sunday. And we got to see all of the mistakes happening then, which none were egregious or disastrous, really.
No, I mean, not in the long run. Although Lewis, like, going airborne.
Yeah, he did that.
That was
flew.
crazy.
He also hit a wall.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's good to see that even the seasoned vets are still human.
Yeah. Or those cars are just terrible.
The cars, I think, also might be terrible. Some of them.
Terrible relative to what a Ferrari should be.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. It is still just a wide gap between your Red Bull, your McLarens, your Ferraris, your Mercedes, and everybody else.
Yep.
But a Ferrari should be better than that.
It really should be. It is the car, you know?
Yeah.
It's same with Aston Martin. Like,
Aston Martin hasn't been as consistent, but it should be better than that.
it should be better than it is. I mean, what did we actually have in quali? What did we get? We got Lando, Charles, and Oscar. Those were our top three, right?
Yeah. Max was there at one point, but it wasn't even close once those three got their times at really end.
I really liked the results of the free practices as well. They were a different three every time except Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
And we all had our hopium, and we were like, we're going to get a second in a row Monaco win from a Monegasque driver.
That video I sent you on Saturday that was, I forgot what movie it's from, but he's like, don't give me hope. Don't do it.
Yeah. It's one of the Marvel movies.
Yeah, I don't remember which one.
Yeah. With Clint Barton and the Black Widow. Yeah. Don't do that. Don't give me hope.
Give me hope.
And lo, they didn't really give me hope, because even though he led top of the timings in all free practices, and then at the end of Q3 he's got provisional pole for about
5 seconds.
not even like Lando is right behind him on a fucking flyer. Like,
so this was me. I was just like watching Charles, and I'm just like, yeah, what the fuck?
Because I had the opposite reaction, but I am also a Charles fan, especially around Monaco. So I'm like, yes, if Lando can't have it, yes, give it to Charles. Like, yes, fuck yeah. And then he breaks the freaking track record. Okay.
Like, that lap was brilliant. Like, everything about quali from McLaren's, all the way from free practice till that third round. Because where did all that come from? They showed nothing. They saved themselves. I'm actually really curious, and I thought about doing this last night, but I was too tired. But I would like to see somebody break down every sector through pre-practice, through Q3. And I'm curious as to what they did to get there. Like, did they just take one sector at a time and just work on that sector while, like, not pushing it on the others, so that they could come down to one perfect lap? And not just one perfect, it was 2 perfect laps, because
from each of them, really.
Yeah. Like, they took Q1 and Q2. They did enough to get them in the top 5. They come out there first ones on the lap, Oscar then Lando. And they pushed that lap nothing like they've given all weekend. Absolutely nothing. They do 2 amazing laps. They get 1-2 provisional. And everybody else is out there. They're fighting through traffic to try and get their hot laps in. And the McLarens now can just sort of cool off and wait and see. And as soon as it looked like Charles was going to beat them, they come in with a second hot lap faster than their first 2.
Yep. Which I think is what Red Bull had been doing. Max had been doing that, doing his a little bit more fuel. And if you can get provisional pole with a little bit more fuel, then you can only go faster the next time around because you're lighter. It worked really well.
It worked perfectly.
All it would have taken, though, is one Lance Stroll, one Lewis Hamilton.
I mean, it could have gone wrong, but it worked perfectly.
Yeah, they got lucky, but also the strategy was
brilliant.
Impeccable.
For Monaco, it's what they needed to do. Yeah. And they did it perfectly. And there's a video with the ghost cars where they overlaid the video from both Lando and Charles's cars over top of each other with a little bit of transparency so that you could see both cars. And you could just watch them like this the whole time until you get to the straights, and then the corners, and then the straights. Like, it just shows you where, like, Lando was basically doing exactly like Charles. He was hugging the curves just as tight as he could, almost perfectly. If it had not been for the straights, Charles probably would have been as the exact same time or less. I mean, there was only like less than half a second between them, like 600ths of a second.
It was wild. But it was a perfect lap from him, from Lando. Like, incredible.
It was a perfect lap from both of them. And Lando just that much more perfect.
Yep. And a new track record for him. Yeah. I'm so excited about that. Well done to him.
Bravo.
And, I feel for Charles, but I'm also one of those. It's like, second, when you're second to a new track record, like, you've done well.
Especially, I mean, and like, obviously he was emotional in the time, but like once he cooled off, you could see where, like, him and Lando in the cool down room talking about it is like, like he knew.
I loved the cool down room this time around because the audio was audioing a little bit. Like, they'd put a microphone in there somehow. Crazy. I could actually almost hear what they were saying. And everyone was just so cool. At the end of that race, it like we know Charles is upset. We know Lando's excited. We know Oscar's upset. But they all were like, nobody was like grumpy. They were all like, oh shit, who almost ran into the wall? Oh, that was me. Like they were very cool in the cool down room. I loved that one. We should talk about penalties though. Penalties played a big part, sort of.
To an extent. They played a big part in everything but the top 4.
So Lance got a 1-place penalty for causing a collision. Ollie overtook under a red flag. What was he thinking? 10-place penalty. Lewis impeding 3 places. How is causing a collision 1 place and impeding 3 places? That I don't get that one. Further, can we talk about Lewis and that impeding?
Lewis, this is all Ferrari's fault.
Yeah.
That garage has problem.
Very problem.
If anybody is listening to this and doesn't know what we're talking about, Lewis was in free practice. This was free practice, or was it quali?
Yeah, I think it was one of the practices.
And Max was coming in on a hot lap. His engineer told him he was coming in and then says, no, never mind, he's slowing down, at which point Lewis did not get out of the way. That was incorrect, and Max had to avoid Lewis while he was...
Also, Lewis was out of the way, but only like a foot not out of the way enough, which was because it's just such a small space.
He couldn't have gotten much further out of the way, but it was enough that it was still impeding.
Yeah. They need couples counseling.
What broke my heart was at the end. Lewis was like, have I upset you? And it was silence.
Yeah. That one hurt too.
Like...
Yeah. And after last week, I mean, Lewis was being a little bitch last week. He was not being nice, but nobody's nice when you're driving 150 to 200 miles an hour.
And like, not being nice is far from being abusive or...
Yeah.
Like, he was just being emotional.
Kind of, yeah, sarcastic, kind of snippy. But at no point did he say, go F yourself.
No.
I hate you. It was, should I let him pass too?
Yeah.
You know, it was stuff that might make a person feel bad, but there's no reason for have I upset you and then radio silence. There's no reason that your engineer should be affected by your snippiness.
Yeah.
And there's just so many mistakes, and there's always mistakes, even before Lewis.
Yeah, I think there's a problem in that garage. I don't know how they fix it, but they need to fix it.
They got to do something. The fact that they don't listen to Lewis, the 7-time world champion, has been driving for 93 years. When he has a strategic idea or thinks he has more pace or any number of things, and they have to go and check, you know, like, just listen to your driver. Just I wonder if there's just too much bureaucracy in Ferrari that they can't make a decision just quickly. Like,
I don't know. Like, I don't know enough about Fred Vizor, and I think the problems were apparent before then.
oh yeah.
Like, so I don't think it's even him. So it could be a bureaucracy issue, like, or just an ineffective engineer that's not communicating. But it's not just Ricky, so like...
It's not. Charles has had issues with his too.
I'm sorry, I'm just remembering when they were in a presser and Lewis looked at Charles and said, do you have problems with your what does your engineer say to you? And Charles just looks blank and goes, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem. He doesn't. They don't communicate.
Oh,
and
jeez. And then when they do communicate, it's freaking wrong.
Or like, and he asked them if the lead were still a minute. He was still a minute behind the leaders. He gets this communication. They didn't even bother transcribing it on the TV. It was
so long.
And Lewis is like, okay, but I just wanted to know I was still a minute behind. I don't think you answered that.
And then he says, like, well, it doesn't matter anymore anyway. Just,
yeah.
He's so done. Lewis, if you're listening, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, bruh. That's tough.
But, you know, did you move to Ferrari for their strategy, or did you move for their clothing brand?
I feel like he probably moved because it's Ferrari.
It's Ferrari. They are a lifestyle brand, and that's what he's going for now.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably true. And then, you know, so many drivers just want to drive for Ferrari to, like, that's like the pinnacle, you know? So yeah. Even though they're a little pathetic at the moment, they still got good results. They did still get good results. So Lewis took 7th, I think, on the starting grid, finished 5th, I think.
He qualified 5th and then had the three place penalty, or he qualified 4th and had a 3-place penalty.
Yeah, so he started 7th and through, I mean, there's no overtakes or anything, but he was able to finish in the spot that he actually qualified in somehow, some way. So something Ferrari did yesterday did work out for Lewis.
It was really just that first lap when everybody's still jockeying for places.
Another penalty that we should talk about is Ollie taking a 10. Actually, Ollie and Lance both. So Ollie takes a 10-place penalty for doing a dumb, which he did a dumb.
I understand that red flag penalties need to be severe.
I don't mind the 10 places because as far as the way I understand it, he knew it was a red flag. He had been told, or maybe his team had told him late. Either way, that's an issue. You deserve the 10 places. That's the rule. That's what you get. But when you qualify 20th anyway, what's the point in your penalty?
It's because of the severity of the penalties they got, even though it was past the point where they qualified, because they stacked, that kept them further down. Like if he
I get it.
Yeah.
But it served no purpose. Like, why would you get a 10-place penalty? He only actually took a 3-place penalty. Why didn't they have him start from the pit or something? You know, like if you've got a penalty that's that severe and you are only actually taking you're only actually taking the same penalty that Lewis took. So those penalties are not equal. They should not be, like, I don't think his penalty is served. And I don't think Lance's penalty is served. But
you can't go past position 20. You're not going to put somebody in a pit start if they are still using the same vehicle they qualified in. I think Ollie should have been disqualified. I think he should have been disqualified, period. You violate a red flag, end of your race, period. No, I'm sorry. People have died because of that. Literally. Yeah. Like, drivers have gotten hit while they were getting out of their cars. People have died in multiple races. If you ignore a red flag, end of your race, period.
Okay, that's fair. But so then we agree that his penalty was not served.
I don't think it is appropriate penalty, but you can't penalize somebody past what the regulations say. You can't just make up.
Yeah, and I think that the regulation.
I mean, that's something that could be changed in the regulations, but you can't just make it up on the spot.
But yeah, it's regulation. But I think that it was bullshit that I love Ollie and I love Lance. But
like, a lot of people give Lance a hard time for the wrong reasons. But this is the reason I question Lance's ability to be a F1 driver, is when he makes mistakes like that.
Yeah, that was a pretty big one.
And he still makes them regularly. Like, that one was bad because it actually caused an accident. But
yeah,
like, but those are rookie mistakes, and it's not. People give him hate up for things that aren't in his control. Like,
yeah, don't hate him for daddy's money. Hate him for causing collisions. But also don't hate him because he doesn't deserve that. Speaking of things that aren't deserved, Mercedes.
Oh my God.
Terrible day at quali.
Yeah.
Kimi crashed out. George lost power for some reason.
Because that's just been Mercedes in the last couple years.
Yeah. But we did get that cute bobsled moment.
That was adorable.
Oh. I loved when the team that's pushing evacuates and the new team comes in to continue pushing.
You know that those marshals are like, this is why I signed up for this. I'm pushing George Russell through the Monaco tunnel.
Yes. Yeah.
And I look cool as fuck.
Yep. Oh, it was precious, but like those guys had a real bad quali.
Yeah.
Some people who had a good quali though. Let's talk about the people who had a good quali. So the surprises.
The Hadjar.
He's been in Q3 a few times, but he brought a friend this time.
Yes, he did.
He brought his buddy Liam Lawson into Q3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Both of their highest qualifying.
Yep. I think 6th was already Isaac's highest, but then when Lewis took the penalty, he started 5th.
He got bumped up.
Oh my goodness. And then Ocon as well in a Haas in Q3.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I feel like Ollie didn't really try to I feel like he tried to qualify poorly, honestly, because he knew he was taking a 10th place penalty, so he was like,
Why take the risk?
whatever. Exactly. Yeah, he knows if he's starting at the back, he might as well just get some good laps in and have a nap for Q2 and Q3 and just
Save your tires, save
Yep.
your
Yep.
don't push your luck and end up in the pit.
Yeah. Which leads us then, I guess, to race day.
If you can call it a race.
What an exciting day. Listen, so my Whoop, please sponsor me. Where are you on the regular, Whoop?
What the hell is a Whoop?
It's what a lot of those drivers use as well. It's like activity health tracking. You should have seen it when I had COVID. It was angry. Oh my goodness. It was like, you are unwell.
Well, yeah, no duh.
And I was like, huh.
I wonder why.
But yesterday, it told me I was in a high stress zone for the hours between 9 and 11 a.m.
I don't know why.
And I was like, who would have thought? Because to me, I'm still excited by the Monaco race, as evidenced by
I have a little too much belief that something was going to happen.
Well, it wasn't just me that had the belief that something was going to happen, because at least two teams, their entire strategy depended on somebody pulling a flag or a safety car that just never came.
And even those teams said it was bullshit and they hated it. They hated doing it. It was unsporting and they wish it didn't happen. But I don't blame them for doing it. But it makes for an unfair competition and an uninteresting watch.
Well, I love that we are completely opposed in our opinions on this, because I love it. I love the strategy. And if teams didn't like it, it's one race a year. It's one race out of the year that we do something like this. The rest of the time, it's pure racing. You can suck it up for one race.
Even the teams who did it didn't like it, though. Carlos and Alex both hated it. They did it, but they did what they were told to. And they hated it.
They hated it. And the interviews afterwards when Carlos is like, who am I talking to? Oh, F1. Well, I don't want to say anything bad about F1 to F1, but this race was shit.
I think, honestly, the post-race interviews were hilarious. We had George suggesting that they have a button to push the sprinklers and wet the roads. Max said that we should have banana peels because we were playing Mario Kart anyway. Like, I understand why you did it, but it's just more rules lawyering. You have a track that is uncompetitive to begin with, and you've turned it into... Honestly, I had more exciting races on the DC Beltway during traffic than was yesterday's race. Like, there's no actual opportunity to do anything. You're just making it worse and more dangerous. Because George, as dramatic as everybody says he is, he was right. I mean,
he was right, but nobody else was being a bitch about it like he was.
I mean, but he was right.
He was right, but everyone else dealt with it.
No, everybody else was bitching. They just didn't do it.
They bitched about it, but they didn't do the unsporting thing and cut the chicane.
Like that was just him giving up, because at that point there was no point. He wasn't racing. He wasn't doing anything. He was just fuck it.
But play the game like everybody else is playing the game. Like, you know what you're getting into. It's Monaco. You know you're not going to have a lot of opportunities. Just set up your car in a way that, like, if you know you're not going to qualify at the front, like, I think just set it up in a way that low speeds are a little safer.
Well, you played sports as a kid.
Yes, I still play sports.
Do you know what happens when... I mean, yes, you play sports now. But as a kid, what happens when you have one team that is so dominant that there's absolutely no way the other team's going to win, and if you just continue, you're just going to make everybody miserable? The game ends. You don't keep going. You don't keep playing
I
because there's
keep
no point
playing.
in it. No, I mean
If there's one
it's in the rule.
team,
No, and I'm not talking about you. The rules actually in the game. Like
what sport are you talking about?
a lot of sports, and then this is in children's sports.
There's a basketball game that if someone's winning, they just stop the game.
If you're
No,
winning,
you get your shit
no,
pushed in, and
I'm not.
you
Can I
go out for
finish,
ice
please?
cream.
Can
Yeah.
I finish, please? In the rules for children's sports, if there's a point where somebody is up to an extent where it is no longer sporting, the game ends there. Period. It's called the slaughter rule. Because it is unsporting to keep playing a sport where one person has no opportunity to actually play the sport. When you get to a point where there's no competition, it is cruel to keep playing the game.
I think that you're talking about children's sports, and we're talking about full-grown
But I don't
adults.
think it's any different here. I'm talking about a situation where there is a unfair competition, isn't it? Where a point where the competition is so uneven and unbalanced by the setup of the game. It happens more in children's sports because children are unevenly matched. You're going to have children that are overly talented, and you have children that are barely interested in playing. So when you put them together, it happens more often. But when you get to a point where the competition is so unbalanced and unfair that it's just sitting there watching somebody beat the shit out of the other person, just end it. It's not interesting to watch. There's nothing left to do. The game was over before it started.
So this is where I very much disagree, because yes, the top 3 were determined. We knew who was going to win after quali. Fine. Unless, which he almost did, he almost ate it into turn 1. Lando had that lockup and he saved it. Thank goodness. But we knew we were going to have, generally the top 10 are going to probably be the top 10. But what we also had was Gabby on the freaking Grand Hotel and the hairpin coming around the outside like he's in an F2 car. He's not. But he almost did it. He almost did that. We had Ollie made a few moves on Lance that Lance like barely defended. So like we still have in the midfield teams are still in a competitive space. Yes, those like we know who's going to be on the podium. We know that. But we can't just end the race because the podium is determined.
Fix it before it starts, because this is not like there was some competition, but it was mostly over by the 5th or 6th lap. And at that point you had 2 races, and the other race was impeding the first one and making the situation dangerous. Once you started getting blue flags and people purposely creating backups, things became like it didn't happen because for the most part people stopped racing and just followed leader. But once you started getting the backpack, if they start jockeying for position at the point where they're in the way of the people that are in the front of the pack, you have the position where you're going to wipe out the whole field. You're going to get people hurt. You're going to take out the race. That's not sporting. That's not sport.
In other series, there is no rule that says that the back markers have to get out of the way. I know it's an F1 rule. I know it is. But I'm just saying that like that's kind of F1 to have that rule that the back markers have to clear a path for those that are lapping them. So to me, it's not unsporting. To me, that's part of it. It is dangerous. It's dangerous anyway. So they know that going in that it's dangerous. But the whole like they have to clear the back. Yeah, they have to clear the back markers. That is part of the race. And I don't have much sympathy for it. Like
if it were a different track, I would agree with you. This track is not designed for that kind of. It's not designed for racing. Period.
This is not designed for modern racing.
Monaco, it wasn't designed. It wasn't a good race 70 years ago. Like people have been complaining about this in Monaco from the first race. it barely was big enough for the cars then. It's not big enough for them now. If it had been any other race, I agree. I don't think the back markers should have to move. But when you have no room for passing at any point on the track, what is the point of racing?
The point of racing is that there is
They're
a
sprints.
sort of unpredictable nature of
It wasn't unpredictable. By the 5 minutes into the race, you knew the exact order everybody was going to finish. So we had another hour.
assuming that there were no incidents, assuming that there were no DNFs. Even if it's a procession, we still had Fernando, just his car just stopped working. Like, Max and Mercedes both waiting for a flag to to totally, like, they ruined their own races, basically
They
waiting
didn't ruin the
for
races because the outcome would have been no different.
waiting for the flags that never came. I think that's funny.
Mercedes isn't waiting for a flag. Toto forgot.
I don't think he forgot. That can't be real.
He was too busy arguing with
oh my god, the Romeo and Juliet scene at the balcony. And then James apparently texted him during the race.
Yes.
I'm so sorry that I'm
so
having to
sorry.
do this.
But no, if you get to a point where even the principals, even the racers are like, this sucks. It hurt. It's not good. It's not a good race.
Well, maybe I'm just an enjoyer of bad things, but I enjoyed it. I thought I was kind of on the edge of my seat the whole time because my driver sometimes likes to lock up and kiss walls. He's leading a race 20 seconds ahead of everyone else, and sometimes he does a dumb. And so I'm enjoying. I'm on the edge of my seat panicking the whole time. And then when he says, oh, toward the end of it, listen, I also love the team game. And I know that racers don't like it. And I know that
this wasn't
other people don't like it. But
this was just, I mean, it didn't even affect the outcome.
I don't care about the outcome. I honestly don't care about the outcome. It's the journey.
There was no journey. It was just.
There was a journey. There was 78 laps of journey.
78 laps of twiddling their thumbs.
Well, then you don't have to watch it next year. I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Oh, you can.
Good. And you shouldn't. You're not allowed to watch Monaco anymore.
I mean, I honestly stopped watching it halfway through. I mean, I was watching it, but I was also on my phone. I didn't miss anything. No. At one point, I'm like, Evie, I might miss the race. Oh, no, never mind. Just get back.
Never mind. Give me
nothing happened.
Full fluffy tail in my face, please. I enjoyed the journey a lot because I love the team game, and I know that the drivers don't like it. I know that the fans don't like it, but there's something so fun to me. Like, they're a team, but we treat them as strictly competitors. But I love it when they get to be working together. Like, for instance, Liam and Isaac. Like, the fact that I know he probably hated it and everyone hated it, but if Liam hadn't backed him up a bit, Isaac would not have finished in the, like, if they hadn't played together, he wouldn't have finished where he did. So yes, the outcome is rigged, I guess, but if they hadn't played together, it wouldn't have been. He would have finished nearer to the end for sure.
I watch NASCAR. The team strategy is a big part of NASCAR. In fact, it's the entire point of NASCAR. And it comes into play way more in NASCAR. But you can actually affect the actual race with your team because they race head to head. They don't line up in processions like this.
But I'm saying you can affect it as well because I think Lando could have been overtaken close to the end if Oscar hadn't put some pressure on Charles. So I think
he could have, because I think that they were less than a 0.06 of a second apart. If Charles could have overtaken Lando, Max was giving him all of the room. Because if Max hadn't been there, Charles never would have had a chance to overtake him. But if Max was purposely impeding Lando so that Charles had a chance.
Yeah.
And if there had been a chance, Charles would have had a chance to even try it. There was no point where Charles even had a chance to try to overtake.
I don't know. I think that where NASCAR can affect a positive outcome, I think if they didn't play well as a team at Monaco this weekend, it would have affected a negative outcome. I think that the teams that worked well together finished well. And the teams that, I don't think anyone didn't work well together, but I think if there was a team that didn't play the team game, it would have affected them negatively.
So, if team play had been able to affect it, there's no way that it would have worked 100% for every team. Like, had team play come into it, we would have seen it fail for somebody. It's never 100%, not unless there's no competition, and that's the problem. So, and I mean, it is what it is. Like, they were trying to fix it with the two-stop strategy. It didn't work. They'll probably do something different next year, but it's probably not going to go away because the money.
Well, yeah, no, it's not going to go away because it's iconic, and it's money.
Not even about the race anymore. The people who go there and spend billions of dollars are not watching the race. They're watching each other.
That's a good point. They're watching each other. So I'm hesitant to say that, anything was set in stone on Saturday. I think that you're right that the Saturday is the more important day. That is when things are mostly set in stone, but it's set into the clay, but it's not baked. It is not baked on Saturday. Like, Lewis came up from 7th to 5th. Ollie, we sleep on Ollie, but he came up from 20th to 12th. George, 14th to 11th. Lance, 19th to 15th. Franco, 18th to 13th. Like, there were some big moves made toward the midfield and at the end of the pack that
we determined the order by the first lap, and then the competition was over. Like,
okay, so
at that point, it's not interesting. It's not fun for anybody. Nobody had fun yesterday, like, except maybe Lando.
I had fun.
In the race, the racers all almost entirely said it wasn't fun.
That sucks for them.
If you want the races to continue, you gotta make the racers happy. You gotta make them feel like they have competition.
I agree, and I disagree. Like, it's one race out of the year. I'm not saying it needs to stay. I'm not like fighting for Monaco supremacy or whatever, but it's one race out of the year where they can do something a little different. Like,
it could have been really fun if they did sprints.
It wouldn't be any different. Wouldn't be any different.
No, I'm talking about actual sprints, not what they call sprints in F1.
Oh, like running on their feet? Because that would be hilarious.
No, like when you do a sprints race, it's not you're not racing each other, you're racing yourself. So you don't
like
have to
single car on the track.
Everybody gets their time. Well, it
lap.
don't necessarily have to be a single car, but everybody has space and open air, so you're not impeding each other. So you would have 5 people in track or something, and then you average it, and then the next round you eliminate somebody, and then you have them go again until you have your last few people. So you don't have a bunch of cars that are too big for the track competing head to head where there's no room for competition. So your competition is to see how fast you can get your car to go.
That would be cool. Like this sort of way they qualify in Indy, 4 laps, average lap speed. Mm-hmm. That would be pretty cool.
That would be a really fun, and you could see people taking more risk and having, it would actually be about strategy and coming up how you could get your car to move through that track faster without having to worry about not having enough space for your car.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really good thought. There was a couple different ideas. George had some really banger ideas. What were his?
The sprinklers. You have a golden ticket.
Sprinklers that you can set off one time per weekend, whether it's on quali or during the race. You get to set off sprinklers once. He suggested a 15 stop mandatory 15 stop. He
Stop
also
every other
suggested,
lap.
yep.
It's
He
kind of
also
what
suggested
NASCAR.
he also suggested Lego cars, but I think he just had so much fun that he's like desperate to bring that back at any cost.
I would definitely bring the Lego cars back. Let's do
I
the
think
Lego
I would
cars
too.
thing.
I don't think they'd make it up the hill though. I don't I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know what kind of engine they had.
I don't know. Were they going any faster than the Weenie mobiles?
No,
I don't know.
they had a top speed of 12 miles an hour.
They're not making it up the hill. They're gonna have to bobsleigh push up the hill.
Yeah. Or you start the Lego cars at the top of the hill and you have a soapbox derby.
Yes.
Soapbox derby.
Yes. So listen, Monaco could be so many things. Like, I honestly think since if they want to keep it as like modern cars on the modern track, it should be, because it is so processional and apparently people are bored by it. And I'm the only person in the world that's amused by the Monaco race. It should be like a charity event.
Honestly, rich people like pretending they're good by giving money to charity.
Yes. And then let it be a boring race for charity.
And they can sit on their boats and destroy the environment.
Yep.
And
pretend like they've done something good for a homeless child somewhere.
it sounds great. And we could do sprints.
But they would be getting rid of some of their wealth to an actual good cause, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, they'll do good for somebody.
Oh, there was also the Joker lap.
I didn't understand that one. I don't know what he meant by that.
So I didn't quite get it either, because there's not much you can do different around Monaco. So a Joker lap would be like George cut the chicane the one time.
Oh, okay.
Like,
So
what
like
if that was legal?
Chaotic neutral.
Yeah, add a little bit of chaos through the Nouvelle chicane. Like, and you have to do it one time in the race. You have to cut the chicane at least once in the race. Like, it's kind of like Formula E. It would turn into like you have to take your outside line to get your attack mode twice per race, and it fucks up the order every time. Like, Formula E is great because
I need to watch.
You can win from the back easily. But I don't know how much just cutting the chicane once per Monaco race would actually affect anything.
I mean, it gives you a chance to actually overtake somebody. So it can really... I mean, as he said, they were slowing down the pace so much that even though his position in the race didn't change because of the penalties, his time was more than 30 seconds faster than it would have been if he'd maintained the pace behind Alex. And that's why he did it. He's like, I was bored.
I don't excuse it.
I
I think it's hilarious.
I think it's hilarious.
And catty and petty. And sometimes I really love George Russell when he loses his mind like he did on Sunday. It is some of the best entertainment.
I'm thinking the more he had to drink between interviews, the more chaotic he got, and it was hilarious. Because at first he was just like, I was just so frustrated, and like I'm just gonna take the penalty, and like I didn't set out to cut the chicane, but I didn't care. And by the end, he was just like, we're just gonna throw banana peels on the floor. Well, that was Max, but like.
Oh my god! And Kimi tried it too just after he did it, because I think they thought it was gonna be like a 5 second. I think they thought it was gonna be just a time penalty, and he was like gonna take the time penalty. But when he found out it was a drive-through, then Kimi was like, "Oh, let me give the place back."
It probably would not have been a drive-through had he not said anything on the radio about it.
I'll take the penalty. Yeah.
If he had not said that, they probably would have given him, what is it?
Probably a 5 second.
5
Because what
second.
is it to gain an advantage off track is usually 5 or 10?
Yeah, it's 5 or 10. But because he said that, they were like, nah, you need a drive-through. Did you see when he tweeted about going out to eat and he was going to give him the bill? And Alex replied, I'll take you through the drive-through.
Yes. But then, so sweet, there was later a picture shared
Yeah.
of the two of them at dinner together,
And
Albano holding the check.
Look at the end of their friends.
This touches on something that really irritates me about the sport, about, I guess, maybe fans of the sport. Like how we've just demonstrated just now. We can have a disagreement. I can still disagree with you. You can still disagree with me.
Because you're
but
wrong.
like you're definitely wrong. But like, are we not friends anymore because we have a professional disagreement?
No,
Like,
podcast is over, but
we made it 4 episodes, guys. But like, I mean, last year when Lando was like encroaching on Max's title, they were like, it's gonna affect their friendship. I mean, they're not besties anyway, but they're friends. They've been together for years and years. Like, they've conditioned this way, you know? Like, their whole life has been on track. I'm a bastard. And in real life, we're cool. Like, so good on social media this one time. This one time, I'm thankful for social media to show us that George was upset with Alex. And yet, their friendship, besties, remains.
But yeah, the whole time I'm watching this race and all that's going through my head is, Lando, we could be world champions, I said. Lando! Lando! Lando!
Lando!
Lando!
And then I remember the stream video where he says to Lando, like, we're not Discord friends. And Lando's like, with you? Like, he says something like, add me as a, why are we not friends? Add me as a friend. And he's like, what do you... Lando is such a weird guy. And that's why I love him. Weird guy. I'd like to just, for a moment, touch on his parents. Also weird guys.
Lando's parents?
Yeah. He dedicated his race win to his parents. They are adorable people, and I wish that they were my parents. I'm very, very jealous that he has good parents. His dad was wearing mismatched shoes. Did you notice? One green shoe, one orange shoe. And I assume it's one for the team and one for Lando. Adorable. And then his mom always looks like the only teacher that I had in high school that actually talked to me in class. AKA the art teacher.
She does have art teacher vibes.
Yeah.
I do think it was so funny because he ran over to hug them and the marshals are just standing there. And this one he's trying very hard to look serious and straight ahead. And the camera is like, yeah, the
mustache marshal.
Camera is just getting closer and closer to his face. And at one point he's just go,
yeah.
Just like, it's a little awkward.
Those Monegasque marshals, though, they live for this. They live for it. They must. They must do. The fact they made a human wall. Like,
just like, I'm just trying very hard to be serious and take my job seriously, but Lando Norris is like leaning over you to hug his parents and the camera is like in your face.
And he's over here going, oh God, he smells so good. Don't smile. Lando smells so good, but don't smile.
It was just the one little smile, like.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I was really proud of Charles, though. I expected a cool down room to be not like angry with each other, but I expected him to be just kind of shut down and like, I didn't win my home race. You know,
I think Ferrari broke him last week, so he hasn't anything left.
But like, we had such a nice cool down room moment with all three of them, and that made me so happy because you could see how upset he was after quali. So I was happy to see that he wasn't like too dejected after a second place.
He looked upset, but only like mostly just disappointed. It wasn't like last week.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think Ferrari broke him last week, so he was already at rock bottom.
Speaking of rock bottom and Ferrari
Ferrari
breaking him.
Very Midwest there.
Where am I from? Ferrari broke him last week, but they continued to break him because in the post-race press conference, Oscar says he's going to go watch the Indy 500 just on his couch, unless someone wants to invite him somewhere. Or Charles, do you want to come over and watch with me? And Charles says, like, well, what time does it start? And he's like, in an hour from now, or hour and a half from now, or something. And Charles goes, oh no, I'll still be in a meeting. Ferrari likes to stay late.
Oh no.
But there was a rain delay, so maybe he still got to watch it with Oscar.
Maybe.
Poor Charles. Poor Chuck. But I think it was a good race for a lot of the drivers. The McLaren guys, Charles, I don't think Lewis had a bad time. I know that our V-Carb boys, double points. That's the first F1 points for Liam Lawson. And more points for Isaac. Points for Ocon. So it was, Ollie, I think, had a good time, despite what was his first pit stop? He came in on lap 1 and they were not ready.
I think they had intended to do his pit stops quick. Like, somebody had speculated beforehand that since he was starting so far back, that he would come in, put on softs, and go back out for a couple laps, come back in, put on mediums, and then book it. Yeah. And I think maybe they just fucked that up.
Yeah, he was sat there for a long time.
Because Haas.
I want them to do. I really want to. I want to root for them.
I want them to do good because of Americans, but maybe Cadillac will redeem us.
They're Americans, and I love Ollie, and Este's growing on me. So, and I really like him. I think as a team principal. So I really want to like Haas, but they need to unfuck themselves.
Sometimes. That kind of leads me into something I wanted to talk about. You know, a few years ago they established price caps.
Yeah, the cost caps.
To make things a little fairer. But like I think it sort of reflects on the way that we misunderstand how equity and money work, because are they really working? Like, we still have a wide gap between the legacy teams with all them that have been spending uncontrolled for years. You have your McLarens, your Ferraris, your Mercedes, and Red Bull, and then you have everybody else. And like Williams is making a comeback, but are they?
Remains to be seen.
They're fighting to sometimes do better than Mercedes, and that's just because Mercedes, fucked up their car.
Yeah, and the last year, Williams had really inconsistent drivers.
Yeah. So like, but how much are they really catching up? Like, the rest of the teams, and to some extent, it's like V-Carb is intended to be a bottom tier team because of the Red Bull. That's another conversation entirely.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't like the idea of junior teams because it just sets up this weird imbalance in the grid. But these teams are still behind, and it's because they don't have the benefit of decades of overspending that the others do. And I'm wondering if, rather than having a hard cap where everybody spends exactly the same, if they don't do something similar to the way drafts work in like the NFL, where the team at the bottom gets the biggest advantage in that. They can spend the $2 million, $3 million if they have it, or whatever it is. I don't remember the cap now.
I don't know it either.
And maybe it's $150 million.
It's something. More money than I can conceptualize.
Yeah, it's definitely more than $1 million. But whatever the cap is, like they have I think it's $100,000 or 100 million, 1.5 million, 100. It's the point where I cannot number anymore.
Yeah. It's one of those imaginary numbers.
Right. So maybe
Yeah.
like the bottom team, and then it tears down until the top team, they have a slight advantage because they're being winners, but not much.
It would be tough to implement because those top tier teams are the ones that have the more money.
Right.
So you would have to like severely, like, what would they do with their excess sponsorship dollars? Or would the sponsors just not have to give as much? I love this idea. I wonder how it would be enforced.
Yeah. Maybe the bottom tiers get extra money on top of the cap that comes from F1 sponsors in general or something. Like they get
Yeah.
the bottom 3 teams get a sponsorship from F1 that gives them an extra 50 million or something. Some way to raise the equity up so that you actually have a competition.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen, but it was an idea.
I don't think so. There was some
Me and my
scuttlebutt
socialist.
a few weeks ago, right? Damn socialist. There was
Yeah, because Red Bull bought some pizza.
There was some scuttlebutt a couple weeks ago that MBS was thinking about deleting the cost cap. He didn't think it was
Of course he
sporting,
did, because he's an
but
oligarch.
yeah, he's terrible. And I love that he just is always trying to be relevant. He's always standing by the scales, like trying to shake drivers' hands. One of my very favorite things is when Oscar like never shakes his hand.
Because Oscar is the people's driver. Oscar does not like the trappings of oligarchy is about the only word I can think of.
He's just so funny, and I don't know if he knows how funny he is.
I think he does.
Like, is he trying to be hilarious whenever he opens his mouth? He's one of those people, speak softly but carry a big stick. He really took that one to heart. Whenever he opens his mouth, you know it's gonna be gold.
He called Monaco a dystopian society.
Did he really?
Yes.
Well, I guess he has a couch there now that he can watch the Indy 500 on, so he's changed.
I think he has an apartment there, but
they all do. They all gotta avoid paying taxes somehow.
I don't mind. Like the drivers aren't just they're the middlemen. They're not the oligarchs, but yeah.
Well, so that's a really hot take, honestly. The cost caps. Yeah. I love it, and I would love to hear some like professionals, have some input about that, because I think that could be a really interesting way for teams to kind of even the field. But I mean, we'll see what happens next year. With the current cost cap, we've got a whole new car coming out. So, I mean, we'll see. We could see McLaren be a giant pile of dookie again. We could see Haas absolutely destroying the competition next year. We don't know. I'm excited.
We could see Ferrari winning races.
Oh, no, we'll not see that. No, anything's possible but that.
I'm sorry. I'm slowly becoming Tifosi. I got the hopium.
No. I'm so sorry. I did just buy a Scuderia Ferrari shirt yesterday. Oh, cute. We have now 3 Lego Ferrari.
Ooh.
So John's a tifoso. I am too, in that I love Charles and I love Lewis. But the team, guys, the team.
I just wish that maybe they could consider, I don't know, maybe making a hat that's not $400.
Not $400 and not covered in jizz. That would be the ideal hat.
I want the jizz. If it had been actually available and I had $150, I would have bought it.
You just get yourself a hat from a craft store, fabric paint it red, draw a little unicorn on the front of it, because that if anything represents the state of that team, it's a hand-drawn little horsey on a hand-painted hat. Should we wrap up with some tepid takes?
Sure.
You got any tepid takes?
No, my takes are pretty hot.
Your takes are pretty hot, but also they're not. No, I think I am in the minority of people who actually enjoy the Monaco Grand Prix. So
your hot take is that you enjoy the Monaco
yeah,
Grand Prix.
my hot take is that the Monaco Grand Prix is a good time. It's entertaining. It's entertaining. It's not a good race. It's an entertaining time.
I was entertained by the Monaco Grand Prix until 9:30 a.m. Sunday morning when it was pretty much over.
It was good until it wasn't.
That was good until it was over,
But it wasn't over because anybody could have crashed at any point.
I don't watch people crash.
I don't watch people crash either, but it's always on the table.
I don't want that to be the only thing I can hope.
Well, I'm not hoping for it. I'm actively hoping against it, and that's what makes it exciting.
Because you wanted Lando to win.
I wanted Charles to win as well. I would have been happy with either of those wins. Or Lewis. I would have been happy with a Lewis win. But yeah, that was never on the table.
But no, I am happy for Lando, and I think he did a brilliant lap, and that he deserved the win.
And then he did a brilliant 78 laps that he didn't crash into a wall.
Solid 78 laps of not crashing, which won him the race when he really won it Saturday. So congratulations, Lando.
I'm really surprised that all but 2 people did 78 laps without crashing. Like, well done to everybody.
Did we talk about Pierre in that?
I don't think we talked about Pierre. Here's another hot take. That crash was so irresponsible.
My understanding was they had to physically stop the car. I think his brakes.
Yeah, his brakes
failed, and he could not stop. So, like, was it irresponsible or it was just terrible luck? Because if he could not physically stop the car.
So there's some speculation. Did his brakes fail before he tagged Yuki, or did they fail because he tagged Yuki?
I don't know because I can't tell. There's such a delay on the comms when they come through on the stream. It looked like he said that the brakes failed after, but we don't get those until somebody has read them, sent them to somebody, and that person decides which ones to air. So that communication could have come in before the wreck.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we have the timing on that.
My understanding is, like, because of when it came, and because knowing that it takes that long, I figured that he lost his brakes before he hit Yuki.
Yeah.
And that's why.
I think that's why he hit Yuki. I don't know if anybody's clarified that.
Well, he was found to be at fault for the wreck.
I mean, even if his brakes failed, that would still be his fault because the fault lies with the driver no matter what, because you can't penalize the team or the car.
But man, I also want to give props to Colapinto. At that moment, he almost took out Pierre almost took out Franco, and Franco for once didn't wreck.
Way to go, buddy.
Way to go, Franco.
You finished the race.
I love you. I love him so much, but last week somebody said that he was prone to have a little crash or something like that. And I was like, he is a bit. But I was his evasion was really, really good.
Yeah.
And maybe here's another take. That's not the first time Pierre has crashed into Yuki.
No, Pierre is also prone to a little crash.
But last year, he did not cost the team a dime. He caused no damage last year. And he, I think, is the only driver to have ever gone a full season without causing any damage to his car. This year, him and Yuki, they're besties. Him and Yuki are best friends.
They're 1 and 2 in the Destructor Cup.
Yeah, you can't keep them apart. You literally can't separate them. Saudi, they took each other out. They DNF'd each other probably so they could go and like get a drink together. Maybe that was his plan this time too.
This is now my headcanon. It's the tall Frenchman and the short Japanese man having drinks because they don't want to race anymore.
They're bored. They're like, he's got his direct line to Yuki. Hey, you want to get out of here?
Yeah. Okay. All right. You're going to start it this time?
I'm going to say my brakes failed. And then Yuki's like on the radio back, dude, you didn't even take me out. Well, go have a drink for me then, I guess.
Probably.
So there's a take. Do you think they'll come together again?
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will too. And then at a certain point, there's gonna be fiction about it.
There probably already is.
Yeah. I'm sure there's fiction out there for all of them. Gross. Tepid takes. We've had some hot takes, but we haven't really had any tepid ones.
What are your tepid takes? Because I was too busy ruminating on the hot takes.
Because we had some hot ones this time. Some hot takes and some cold takes. My tepidest take, I think, is that I think we're sleeping on some of these rookies. I think that Isak and Ollie specifically, they are professional F1 drivers.
That's a pretty tepid take.
And they are behaving as such. And then I think another tepid, this might be a hot take. This is bordering on hot. This is a lukewarm take. Liam redemption arc? Maybe.
I don't know.
We'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out in Spain, where everyone speaks Spanish. He can't be pissed at an entire nation. Anyway, I was just happy with how he played the team game, and he got some points and seemed like a generally kind of pleasant person.
Maybe just because he didn't open his mouth. Duct tape will do wonders for a personality.
I don't even want to speak. What did George say? I don't even want to speak about it. Don't even want to speak about it. Oh.
That might have been the best driver storm out since Kimi
I know what I'm doing.
left his car on the side of the road.
I was half expecting Fernando when he DNF'd to hop on a yacht, Kimi Räikkönen style, honestly. Yeah. That's what I would have done. I am the unluckiest driver in the whole world.
Have you met Charles?
Baby.
Because he's right there.
He's right there. Should we wrap it up?
We should wrap it up. We said we were going to be tight this time. I think
we were pretty tight. I think we were pretty tight.
Yeah.
But it was just a lot.
It was a lot.
Well, it's been fun. It's been a long, heated chat today.
And there's been some less than tepid or more than tepid. Is it more or less? Whatever.
I think both directions. There's been a whole spectrum of water temperature today. It's full on tire water cooling down the hot tires.
It's the rainbow of tepid temperatures.
It's the rainbow that you get when you're spraying the water and the sun hits it just right. Oh, who cares about the temperature? It's a rainbow.
Coming up on Pride Month.
Yeah. Pride Month starts Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Barcelona. Gran
Premio?
That's Italian for sure.
Well, they're both very similar.
Grande.
Armco Gran Premio de España.
Yeah. Well, that's the start of Pride Month, and it's my birthday, so I get a Grand Prix for my birthday. Pretty excited about it. And then we will have another episode probably in the week following that. But for now, we are going to go do Memorial Day stuff. And by that, I mean just enjoy not working today.
Edit this podcast.
Edit the podcast. And I don't know what else. I'm going to eat some weenies, maybe.
We did a picnic yesterday.
Oh, that's so nice. We haven't done anything. But if you don't like our hot takes, or if you really like our tepid takes, you should email us or hit us up in the comments or in DMs on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And then our email is mustbethewater@reeseharp.com.
And we are Must Be the Water on everything else.
Yep. Must Be the Water podcast.
And let's see, what is it they say, the YouTubers, be sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Leave us a comment.
Yeah.
All the things for the algorithms.
Yeah. Tell us how much you loved the Monaco Grand Prix.
Or how much you fell asleep during it.
Loved it.
Or if you really want to see us smash a watermelon for our favorite NASCAR driver, Ross.
Let's smash a watermelon. But first, let's actually wrap this up.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.